Hi guys, my name is Dima. Welcome in today's trading video. You are going to learn how to stay focused. This is a psychology video. If you are struggling with flicking between charts, missing out on trades, going back and forth, and generally not being able to keep your focus, your attention on the charts that you need to and on the trades that you need to, on the particular ones, that this video is for you. And I'm going to have a quick market review of what happened this week and what I did this week, what trades I took and didn't take. I'm going to analyze the price action, the technical analysis, and look at what happened so that you can learn from it. And let me go through with you as well how to keep focused, how to improve your psychology. This is a really, really great mental edge for you. You may not have been aware of this before. Let's get started. Right, let's get cracking. We have our list on the right hand side here with our biases. Let us begin. Let's have a look at the dollar index first of all. And always looking at the overall picture, we had our news for the week. The big one was CPI on the dollar. And as you can see, if we go down a time frame to the daily, we just had choppiness all over the week. We had some volatility with the CPI news, but this was within this kind of tight range, and we wanted to see the market break out of that. So nothing much on the dollar as we expected, and therefore not likely for there to be anything interesting on the pairs associated with the dollar. Let's have a look at that on the euro dollar. As you can see, once again, we were looking at either side to be broken and some kind of action, but again, similar thing happening here, just a very tight range, and then we want to see something happening beyond this range. None of that happened. It was all in a consolidation phase as expected, beginning of January in general, beginning of the year with many people still on holiday. So not a surprise there. Okay, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel to get some great videos and great insights into trading and how to improve your trading, make sure to click that and the bell notification. I make these 3 times a week for you guys. Okay, let's move on to CAD Yen. CAD Yen is another one we were looking at. I was preferring the sell idea. We did not have a break of the level to the downside. That's what I was waiting for. We moved a little bit higher. Also, we did not invalidate it with this high for the buy option. And we kind of created this swing, went a bit higher, and it's neither here nor there, basically. You could say there was a possible entry here to buy, but that didn't meet our criteria, especially with the downside. So again, sitting on the sidelines, this is a choppy type of market. We want to be more patient. Perhaps this is the reversal. Where do we want to see next? Well, next week we want to see breaks of lows. So we'll look at that in a few days when we do the weekly preview and weekly plan. But for now, that downside did not happen. And again, not much clarity there on CAD Yen. So there's the 4-hour. I didn't see much of a level here. We did retrace, but maybe we would have gone lower. Who knows? So I just sticking to our parameters, our criteria for placing trade. And that downside momentum didn't happen. Didn't get the criteria. Didn't get the move that we wanted, and well, the market is just doing its thing, and we leave it to do that until we see what we like, right? It's a poker face situation. Euro yen is a similar picture. So we did have a bit of a move higher. We were looking at this level to get a reversal from, and maybe this is it, maybe not, I don't know. But thing is that we did not have this move to the downside. So we're waiting for the move higher, which we got, and then we wanted to see a clear break lower, move lower to get a retracement and continue down. But that did not happen. So we have to wait a bit longer, just as with the CAD Yen. Similar picture there. Here's that daily. We're still moving higher and higher. If we breach the invalidation, then so be it. And we'll reassess. Okay, that is Euro Yen. Let's move on to the next one, see what we've got. We planned Euro CAD with these two scenarios, a break higher, wanted to see buy situation, the break higher, retrace and pull back and then continue. That did not happen. Again, just stuck in a range, this range that we drew out. We're also looking at the downside to come lower. It didn't do that. Still in a range. So again, nothing to look at, nothing to see here, basically, nothing to do. You just have to wait it out. Now, Aussie New Zealand was the interesting one that we wanted to wait for, and this is a fantastic example because this is the kind of moment where you think something's about to happen and you're anticipating it to happen and you believe it's going to happen and you think it's going to happen because you already planned the trade, but actually the criteria is not met and it's too early. It's not the right time and it's not meeting the criteria. Now, what did we talk about? We talked about this piercing line bullish reversal, which was the candle here, Wednesday's close, which it did. It opened lower, pierced through halfway, closed beyond halfway of the previous candle body, which is this candle right here. You see this weak candle, this sell candle, and that would have confirmed the reversal. However, there's a but here. The plan was on the buy scenario was to break this previous high, break through it, pull back, and then move to the upside. It did not do that. It just ran through and then went right back down. So this was a case of really the market tempting you, tempting many other traders possibly as well into the buy, but actually failing and coming right back into this little range. And now, well, we don't know what we're going to get from there. The invalidation point is still there if we breach it, and then this idea is still open. Therefore, we have a bit of a range, if you want to call it that, and no clear direction. Want to see the set in the direction, the clear movement of the direction, momentum, whichever word you want to use, really, through this level, level here, and this zone, this area, and then continue to the upside. So far, no good. That did not happen. So we'll let the market be and just continue waiting. Gold, another funny one. Gold has its own mind. It's a bit of a weird one, especially when it's tied to the dollar. We don't have any clarity on the dollar. So what do we want to see? Well, we marked two levels. Let's go to the daily. We had this range, we had this low here, and we had this high here. So we want to see the clear movement out of this range, and for the market to break through it. It just pipped through, it just wicked through, it came right back in. It did not break through, it did not create this break, pulling back, and then momentum pulling back and then continue lower. And what is it doing? It's tricking many traders. Hopefully you were not one of them, because this is not a break. As you can see, this we wanted to see a break. That did not break. That just wicked through. We want to see a clear momentum break. Now we've gone through here, coming back into the range, and again we've got these two levels still as reference prices, reference points. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Okay, there we go. So we'll have to wait even longer. Okay, oil, similar thing. We wanted to see a break here, right down at the bottom to continue lower. First sign would be a break of the low, previous low, and the previous low was here, which we did break on the 4-hour and did not continue lower. We just went on higher and then back into, once again, if you want to draw it out, into this range. So we have our reference point. Here was the major break, or the invalidation here break, and then the downside. So far, nothing there. It's all ranging. Okay, and that concludes the week. Very slow, very typical, and simply no setups to take. Okay, so as we have done that part, let's now go into the part about focus. How do we stay focused on charts? Let's first of all go over what you're experiencing right now. It may be that you have a lack of focus or you're not being very consistent because your mind is overactive. Your mind is constantly absorbing information, constantly looking at different charts. You may be doing this, you have your list of charts and you're just flicking between them, seeing, oh, where have I got an opportunity? Where have I got an opportunity? Is there something there? What do I do? Try to make a decision, and you're trying to hold all these things all at once. And what happens is you become overloaded and distracted and trying to keep all these things together. That creates havoc, that creates noise, that creates just no peace in the mind. And you can't have a clear mind when you are looking at so many charts, so many opportunities, and no clarity about which one you're actually going to go for, because there's so much information coming into your mind all the time with all these charts that it bamboozles your mind. It's like the straw that broke the camel's back. You have a full mind, and then suddenly just a little bit more and you just implode. You just have a meltdown. And you create all kinds of noise, and the noise goes back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then it's just a mess. It's a mess. What we want is we want something a bit more like this, perhaps. I'm going to focus on our mind. We're going to be calm, in a calm state, seeing the clearer picture, nice and clean, kind of like, this guy staring in the Himalayan mountain. Calmness, clarity, and focus. And the way to do that is to focus the mind, but think about, more importantly, how can I get a mental edge here? And the mental edge is having clarity and focus of thought and knowing where I am on the chart and removing the distraction. Now, removing the distraction could be one, having fewer charts. That's the first thing. So I may have here, this may be too much for you already. For me, this is okay because I look at a higher time frame, so this happens slowly. It does not overload my mind. Now, if you find your mind is overloaded, then you want to remove charts, or you want to cut these down, maybe even just 2 or 3. Really cut them down. Now, as well as cutting them down, what we want to do is also remove as much noise as possible. So that means if you are trading many charts at the same time and flicking between them, you are overloading your mind. Looking at one at a time will help. Deciding one and only going for that one. So if, for example, you're looking at these on a regular basis and you identify which one is the most highest probability, so let's say, for example, Aussie New Zealand, like we had this week, and you're now focused on it, you're homed in, and you're looking for those scenarios, you mark it up. Now, this is one of the reasons why I have a naked chart, because for me personally, the indicators and a lot of information is just too much. Simplicity is a real gift here. So what do we want? Well, let's remove all this complexity from the charts. And what we want is really, we just want to be similar to this, relaxed, focused, and a clean mind. The concept that I'm going to tell you about now is called, or I've just termed it, the mind margin. Now, you may be aware of the margin in your account when you've got a certain, for example, let's just clean this up. Let's move this here. You have a certain amount in your account, and then you have to keep some spare as margin. So you may know about margin call. That will make you lose your account if you use up the margin. So we have a space. Let's call this little space the margin. Okay, you need to leave a little bit of margin. So you can use all of this, but you can't use this margin. That leaves space, that leaves a little bit more a safety net. Now, if you take this concept, take this idea of your account and apply it to your mind, now you have margin in your mind. Therefore, you do not use all the capacity of your mind. You do not use everything. You do not try to absorb everything, do everything all at once, and simply take in as much as you can. Imagine if this is your mind. You want to keep a margin in your mind, which means you want to keep a little bit. I would recommend 25% margin in your mind. That means at most using 75% of your capacity, which leaves your mind more in peace. You're leaving yourself the ability to make more decisions, to adapt to the market as you see it unfolding. If you're doing everything all at once and you're using 100%, then you're making it very on the edge. It's very edgy. And you could make a wrong decision at any point because it could overload you. Now you have to see where you are at and if you're overloaded and how much what capacity you're operating at. Just like if you eat and you fill up your stomach, you're going to feel heavy, you're going to feel inflated, you're going to get inflammation, and just even a little bit more it really will overload your body. You want to keep that margin in your stomach, and you want to keep that margin in possibly your body as well, because you could get a lot of lactic acid buildup if you or damage yourself if you're overdoing it with your body. So similarly, we're talking about your mind here, and just focus on the pairs. Let's get rid of this. Focus on the charts that you have, maybe one or two, maximum three if you're like me for the week you have a higher time frame, and definitely if you're day trading, scalping, whatever other method you use, the faster the chart, the fewer markets you want to look at, because you're going to be absorbing a lot of information as the market moves along. And that will require brain capacity. Everybody's different, of course, and everybody can handle different ways, but don't overestimate yourself. Go with the lower capacity, lower amount, maybe even 50%, and then go from there. It's much easier to handle the chart from that place, and that gives you just peace of mind and ability to look through it and just say, okay, right, I can see what's happening here, right, this is not for today, see what's happening here, not for today, and the one that I want, let me just focus on that one, and that is the one where I'm going to take my capacity, my brain, and deploy it on that. Trading is a mental game. You already know that, mental, emotional, so you really want to preserve it. Don't let the market suck away your mental state, your mental capacity. Preserve it. Keep it for the important times. And that is when you really want to execute. This is a really great way to stay focused, keep yourself sharp over the long term, day in, day out. Don't create the situation of when the straw breaks the camel's back, and keep your mind clean. That's it for this week. Hope you learned something from this week if you were trading or not trading, whether you took a loss or took a win, it doesn't matter. I'll see you again next week. I hope this video has been helpful to you and you're going to implement this starting from Monday or whenever you're next trading, whenever you see this video. And I'll see you again for the market analysis on Monday and the plan for the week. I'm sure we'll have more opportunities to look at and more trades based on the short list we have had this week as well. As you can see, there are some opportunities that are going to take a little bit of time, but are perhaps playing out. All right, let's see what happens next week. Bye for now, guys, and good luck trading.